Okay, this is Demon 6, and I'll be showing you how to make a mold of your face. But before I get into the big summaries, let me tell you what you'll get if you follow this video. A plaster of Paris mold of your face, a latex mold of your face, and finally a plastic mold of your face. Now before we get started, I do things a little differently from other people. Most people have someone else paint their face with latex and so on, but I just don't like the idea of someone else painting my face. I like to do it all myself. Now this is the important part. This was the first time I did this. I'm not some amazing artist or anything, I'm just a beginner. However, I do enjoy making these things, and hopefully you do too. So if you want to learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you will, this is the video for you. So let's get started with what you need for part 1, the plaster of Paris mold. Basically all you need is plaster of Paris, warm water, and some Vaseline. Now, since there's already a video of someone putting the plaster of Paris on their face, I'll just put their link in the description. However, I'll type out the steps for you anyway, and I'll show you how mine came out. Oh god, that thing is ugly. Well, here's the good news. What we need from this project is the inside for the mold, not the outside. Now here's the thing. As you can see, the edges are messed up, so I had to go back in with more plaster of Paris to smooth it out, like this. Now on to part 2, the latex and plastics. My plaster mold wasn't as smooth on the inside as I wanted, so I went in with my plaster material called Smooth Cast 305. This can be bought at almost any art store. Now aside from the Smooth Cast, here's what you need. Some measuring cups, a plastic cup, and a very expensive plastic spoon. As you can see, mine was donated from Wendy's. Now on to the plastic materials. Smooth Cast comes in 2 parts, A and B, which you have to shake well, and then add equal parts to each other. I used 1 tablespoon for each, so I had 2 tablespoons worth of plastic. Now this was my first mistake. I used a paintbrush which apparently wasn't thoroughly cleaned. This made the plastic thicker and made it kind of blackish. However, it did its job of making the inside of the mold smooth. However, when applying the plastic, be careful, because if you make it too thick, it will change the shape of your face inside of the mold. You want to use as thin a layer as possible. Luckily, if you don't mix yours with a dirty paintbrush, it comes out as thin as water, making it easy to pour. Now onto the latex rubber mold. I used Omo 25. I think that's how you say it. It comes in 2 parts. Use equal amounts of each. I used 1 tablespoon of each like last time. Mix them until they turn into this dark bluish color. Then you can pour it in. I would suggest from the forehead and let it slide down to the chin, while using the spoon to smear it everywhere else. I suggest you let it dry like this so that the excess can drip down and hopefully off of it so that it can still fit your face. Now if you want to remove your latex mold from your plaster of Paris mold, simply find an edge and it should easily pop out since the latex does not stick. Now here's the interesting part. For mine, I had to put latex around the edges because I didn't want the plastic to stick to the plaster of Paris. So if you want to be able to remove your latex, you do not want to do that around the edges. I suggest you use a clay wall instead. I'll put a video in the description to show you how to make a clay wall later. Now then, we're going to move on to the plastic part again. Luckily, latex doesn't stick to anything, so you don't need any mold release. Just mix it like we did before, and place it around with a spoon, and you should get this. Now this is why you have to do 2 layers of the plastic. If you only do 1, you end up getting this. It's like a mesh. It doesn't cover the whole mold. You'll have blank spots and everything. So you have to do 2 layers, and as you can see, it easily popped out of the latex mold. As you can see, the latex mold and the plastic mold did work out pretty well. However, as far as I'm concerned, the plastic mold was not thick enough, so we go to step 3. Now here's the thing. The reason I'm making this mold of my face is so that I can make a mask out of clay on top of that. So for me, the plastic just was not thick enough. I thought that it would break under the weight of the clay. That's why I'm using the plaster. It's not necessary for everyone to do, but if you feel like it, it doesn't really hurt. The plaster is really easy to use. You just mix the powder with the water and you get this type of paste. I just smeared that on the inside of the plastic mold and I got the results I wanted, as you can see. Now, as you can see, we do have the molded face, the latex, the plastic, and the plaster of Paris. And that's pretty much the finished product. Now, as for me, my next phase in this project is to create a mask on top of my plastic mold, and when finished, the mask will be made of the same plastic used in this mold. Next time, I do plan on making a real video of me making the mask, not just images and audios like this time. So I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, ask away. Also, I would like to say thanks to Doll Goddess 2006 and Evil Slaughter 13 for showing me how to make molds and masks. You can find links to their channels in the description.